start. Hi Rory. The way the rotation works, well, it actually starts off in the old 3D, so it'll take a few days for me to move it all across. But go to 2D display. So we're in the new 3D here. So click this button on 2D display, and it, in theory, there you go. It's switched across now to the old 3D. So go to acceleration mag detail offsets, and then the ACC mag rotation correction tab there. So you enable it, and data scale, just use your mouse wheel to resize up, and we have to select some data. So if I highlight half the data and say that's my reference data, they rotate. Then so I highlight the. Well, let me start that again. If I do to there and set that as a reference, then left click, it uses the right click as the left now. So that's my actual rotation data. Might be hard to see, but there's data clustered around here and here. I can't increase the size, the point size on this because there's no control on here to do that. Or hang on, I might be lying actually. 3D controls. Is there a point size? Yeah, point size. There you go. So I can do that. Okay, so this is the reference data, and that's the actual data I want to rotate relative to that. So if I was to rotate on the Z-axis, which is coming out of the screen, I can rotate both together. I can rotate on the X-axis, and I can rotate on the Y-axis. Equally, I can rotate on the Z-axis for the data I want to rotate. So that would be applying a rotation, but it's not actually applied yet. And then I can rotate together relative to that. Okay, so again, you can see what's happened to the data there. Whereas this can be undone at this point. So if I wanted to rotate this data so it was around up to the top, then I would rotate by either adjusting this or just type in 90. Oops, oh, no, I can't type in 90. So I'm going to use the old mouse wheel or just grab and rotate. That's close. You can actually tap left and then mouse wheel up to get exactly 90. So once you've got the rotation settings in this one that you want, you give it a name. So I'll say rotate minus 90 on Z. Okay, and then right. So this is just like an example. It's not actually a real safe setting of rotation, but you say store this orientation, and that is now a rotation set in stone, but it's not applied to any data. It's just a rotation that can be applied. So if I was to now say that I can now set all the data if I want, or just a part of the data, or a bit of data there. If I set this to marked events 1, marked events 1, marked events 1, then I then say this is the marked events value here, so that'd be 1. So apply select to global marked events value 1. This rotation that's selected here, I click that, they've now been rotated. So if I go back to show 3D, if I go back to the old, sorry, the new 3D, the acceleration, bring this up a bit bigger, and 2D sliders, because we're looking at smooth acceleration there, so we just need to towards the sampling. You can see how it has actually achieved what we wanted it to achieve. Now, if I go back, the point to note is that there's a button here that says undo all rotations, whole data set. That does not work in a raw file, because the way it works is that it just reloads the current split, but because a raw data file is loaded in toto, it's not, you can't move through the splits. This doesn't work, doesn't do anything, so I'm either going to disable that button or make it so that you can actually reload the raw file. But the quickest way to undo all rotations at the minute is just to close DDMT and reload the raw data file. But so if I was to create another, if I call this marked events mouse wheel up to change it to 2, and call that number 2, I can well, I can say my reference data is. I mean, you can have this. The reference data can be the actual rotated data at the same time. So I can call that. Make that both the same. Obviously, we've got a rotation there, but so I'm going to do just a bit of a random rotation. Okay, and then we'll call this random store. Okay, and I'm going to apply that rotation. I mean, I can wind this back now. The rotation is actually stored in a buffer down here. I'm going to apply that to rotation 2, so you should see data in green changing and nothing else. Okay, so I turn off the full 3D. You see here it has it's done what we asked it to do. So you've got some original data. That was the 90-degree rotation on the Z, and then this is the randomly rotated data that's in between. Obviously, we can filter by marked events. So that's that's the Z rotation 90. That's the random rotation, and then marked events of nothing can't be filtered. It could, but it's not implemented that way. So yeah, so you cannot save these. It might be worth, at some point I want to bring this 3D rotation stuff into the new 3D, because that's one less thing in the old 3D that's got to be transferred across in. Most of it has been moved across. But it would be nice to put a button or two here to export these orientations so you can re-import them at a later point. So that's it. Thanks.